Let's talk about the Ascension. You know, for a lot of us, that word probably brings up an image of, well, a departure, a final goodbye. But what if I told you that's only half the story? What if the Ascension isn't about Christ leaving us at all, but about him becoming even more present to us than ever before? Let's dive into that. And this question right here, it really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's a feeling a lot of us have had. The whole story can feel a little bittersweet. It's so easy to think that Jesus finished his work on earth and then just left us behind. And look, that's an understandable feeling, but it's just not the complete picture. It's no wonder we feel that way. I mean, think about all the classic paintings and images we've seen of Jesus rising into the clouds. It looks like a departure. But Scripture is calling us, inviting us to look deeper, to see a reality that is way more profound, way more intimate, and honestly, way more empowering than we could ever imagine. All right, so to really get the Ascension, we have to make a pretty big shift in how we see it. This isn't a sad farewell party. No way. This is a coronation. It's not a moment of loss. It's the victory parade for a king who has conquered everything. Psalm 47 gives us this incredible new lens to see through. It tells us to see the Ascension not with tears, but with shouts of joy. I mean, just imagine that for a second. This is Christ, our King, victorious over sin and death, taking his rightful place on the heavenly throne. The angels are going wild, and we're invited to join right in with that chorus of praise. So here's the absolute key takeaway. Christ's work on earth wasn't over, not even close. It was just kicking off a brand new, incredibly powerful chapter. By ascending to his throne, he's not abandoning us. He's now ruling over everything from a place of ultimate power, and he's empowering his church, that's us, to carry on his mission. And if you want a truly breathtaking vision of this new reality, just look at what St. Paul writes to the Ephesians. He says Christ is seated far above every principality. What does that even mean? It means no earthly power, no spiritual power, nothing can stand against him. All of creation is under his feet. And this is the most important part for us, he is the head of the church, which Paul calls his very own body. Okay, just let that sink in for a second. If Christ is the head and we, the church, are his body, well, you can't separate a head from its body, right? They're one thing. We are that connected to him, inseparably united. His life, his power, his authority, it's all flowing into us. He hasn't left. He's just working in the world now through us. So what does a king do once he's on the throne? He gives orders, right? He issues commands. And that is exactly what Christ does. His final words to his disciples aren't goodbye. They're a royal commission, a mission that comes directly from his new authority. He doesn't leave us, he sends us. And the Gospel of Matthew lays this out so clearly. This is no gentle suggestion, it's a command from the king. And just listen to the action in those words. Go, make disciples, baptize, teach. Christ is handing over his own mission, the mission of salvation, to his apostles and through them to every single one of us. But here's the best part. Right after giving this huge, world-changing command, Christ gives this incredible promise that makes the whole thing possible. He doesn't just send us out on our own and say, good luck. No, he says, I am with you always. He goes up to heaven, but his presence stays right here with us, empowering us for the mission. That's the divine guarantee that makes the impossible possible. Now, really understanding this truth, that Christ is our King and that he is always, always with us, well, it demands a response. You can't just know this stuff and move on. It's a call for a huge personal transformation, a call to move from being just a spectator to being an active player in his kingdom. In the book of Acts, there's this great scene where the apostles are just standing there, staring up at the sky where Jesus had just disappeared. And it's such a human reaction, right? We can all relate to that. It is so easy to get stuck just looking back at what Christ did, becoming these passive observers of our own faith, just kind of waiting around for something to happen. And then the angels show up and they ask the apostles basically, hey, what are you guys doing just standing here looking up at the sky? It's a powerful wake-up call for them, and it's a wake-up call for us too. We all have this choice to make. Are we going to be passive waiters or active witnesses? Are we going to be spectators or are we going to be evangelists who share this incredible news with the world? So I get it. You might be thinking, okay, this all sounds really inspiring, but what does it actually look like in my life? I'm not one of the apostles. And that is a great question. That's why it's so helpful to look at the life of a saint who lived this mission in the most humble, ordinary way you can imagine. Meet Saint Paschal Bellone. This guy wasn't a famous preacher. He wasn't a missionary to some faraway land. He was a humble Franciscan lay brother, a former shepherd who couldn't even read or write. His whole life was about quiet humility, faithfully doing his daily chores, and this deep, all-consuming love for Jesus in the Eucharist. And you can see right here exactly how he lived out the message of the Ascension. When Scripture calls us to be my witnesses, his witness was just his quiet, dedicated work every day. When the Psalms call us to rejoice in the King, he lived that joy by adoring Christ the King in the Eucharist. He lived that promise, I am with you every single day, in his prayer before the Blessed Sacrament. You see, St. Paschal's life teaches us this really powerful and honestly freeing lesson. Holiness isn't just for the extraordinary. Being a real witness for Christ isn't always about some grand gesture. Most of the time it's found in hidden fidelity, just doing the small, ordinary things of your day with great love and faithfulness. And this is what brings the whole mystery of the Ascension right into our own lives, right now. This isn't just a beautiful idea from theology class. It is a direct invitation to a new way of living, and it starts today. Just like St. Paschal, you don't have to go looking for some huge, extraordinary task to be part of Christ's mission. Your mission field, it's right where you are. It's in your family, at your job, in your neighborhood. It starts in the simple, concrete moments of your everyday life. So how can we start? Well, here are 3 really simple, really concrete ideas. Maybe today you could just share a little bit of your own faith journey with a friend. Or maybe you could offer a word of encouragement to someone who's struggling and let them know your hope comes from Christ. Or you could even just spend a few minutes in prayer, asking the ascended King for the courage to be his witness. And that's the final question I really want to leave you with. Christ has ascended to his throne. He's given you a mission, and he's promised to be with you every step of the way. So what is the one concrete step you will take today to move from being a sky gazer to being his witness?